Hello and welcome back to DevOps for Everyone. Today I'm joined by Haseeb Budhani, CEO and co-founder of Rafay Systems. We talk about the inspiration for his company's names today, not just at Rafay but also at a previously founded company called Soha Systems. Really interesting to hear where he came up with the names for those businesses. We also talk about, as the CEO, being the most prolific SDR in the business, a business that has staff in 4 time zones. As a CEO, we talk about holding bi-weekly meetings with everybody across the business, mostly talking about sales. Everyone supports customers here at Rafay and how sales is the most important thing in any startup. We also talk about what does customer first actually mean. And finally, we talk about prioritizing health, family and work, and not necessarily in that order. So let's jump straight in. And if you enjoy it and want to see more videos, give it a like and subscribe.
I guess where I'd like to start is with you before the business. So this is now the second company you founded?
Yes. This is the second time I've been a CEO. I've been in other startups in the past, but yeah, it's you work at small companies and you kind of feel like you know everything till you get the CEO job, and it's very different. It's really different. But yeah, the last time we did this, it was a happy exit. There was a lot of fun, and we thought we'd do it one more time. Yeah, still a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of hard work. It's crazy, but it's a lot of fun.
So the team that you founded the previous company with, is that the same team that founded Rafay?
So same co-founder. Some of the key people are indeed the same. In fact, two of my colleagues here have been, them and I, we've worked together. This is our 4th time working together. So at least they've chosen to follow along. What do people want really, right? They want to take care of their families. They want a challenge. They want to grow in their career, and they want good people to work with, right? If you provide that kind of, a package, people will show up.
Am I right to say that this company and the one before as well, you got the inspiration for the names of the businesses from your kids?
Yeah, the previous one was called Soha. It's my daughter. Current one is Rafae. I'm wearing the Rafae shirt today. Yeah. It's my uniform, I guess. But yeah, my son's name is Rafae. It just sort of happened. There wasn't that plan in the first time around the previous company, and because it worked out well, we had to do it around the second time around. So yeah. That's become the standard story about our company. It's named by kids, but it actually, we pick these obtuse names for security companies, or we try to come up with these, kind of these play on words. Just pick a name. It's okay, right? Yeah. It's fine, right? I mean, Joe's a good name, right? Why isn't there a Joe Security? Why not? I mean, that's a memorable name, right?
Maybe one day.
Yeah, Joe Orchestration. Yeah.
There you go, Joe Kubernetes. It's in the making, don't worry. It's in the making. Yeah. So how did Rafay come about in the first place? Take us back to the beginning of Rafay, the conversation that you and the co-founders had, and then the vision. You've obviously saw a gap in the market somewhere for a company like this.
When we started the company, we had a vision that, in my opinion, was not as broad as where we are now. So when we started the company, so we had come out of a CDN called Akamai. Everyone knows Akamai. The prior company was acquired by Akamai. In running the prior stack, we felt the pain around just infrastructure management as a team. In fact, at one point, we had more people doing infrastructure software than security software. Doesn't make any sense. That's kind of ridiculous. So when we left Akamai, we spent a lot of time thinking about, what we could have done better, what we sort of did really well. And we kept coming back to this one pain point, which was, wow, every time you would upgrade it was painful. Every time you'd add a new location, it was really painful. If a customer said, I want my own environment, single tenant, it was really painful. Why is that? I was the CEO, my co-founder was the VP of engineering, same roles here. And I don't think we'd ever really appreciated how hard it is to run infrastructure. And I think this is a mistake that a lot of application owners make. They're focused on the app and the infrastructure that drives their applications. That's sort of the DevOps guys will take care of it. We don't really think about it. We don't know how hard their jobs are. We don't know how often the tools change and how many tools there are altogether. And that got us thinking, wow, this is crazy. Somebody should solve this problem. And of course, companies existed at the time to solve it. This is sort of, Kubernetes was just starting, right? So this is like early 2018. People are starting to talk about it. We looked at other tools that existed out there. When we first started, we thought we'd solve the high-end problem, which was, hey, if you're going to have 20, 30, 40 locations, 100 locations, and you're running containerized applications everywhere, we're going to give you the best possible multi-cluster management product in the market. And we started there. So we started on the high-end, multi-tenant, highly scalable platform. But the reality is, look, the market is early. The market's very early. Most people are just starting Kubernetes. And in the first, year before we had product, I met a lot of customers who said, this is awesome. I can't even get my cluster up, right? My DevOps people said to me, oh, this is easy. I can get this up. Look, micro KRS working on my laptop. It's so easy. But then when we take it to an actual environment and we try to run it with an app, now they want me to hire 5 more people. And I can't afford to hire 5 more DevOps engineers. Even if I could, I can't find 5 people with Kubernetes experience.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. And that guy's thinking, wow, so this is not a run market. So in my opinion, every startup, when we start them, right, it's really important to understand from a product market fit perspective, are you in a crawl market, a walk market, or a run market? Crawl means people don't even know what they're doing. They're starting, right? They need that support, right? Every company will have 1 or 2 experts, but the rest of the organization may not know yet about that technology. Walk would be, okay, it's sort of become mainstream. People are using it everywhere, but it's still early days. And then some companies will be run, which is they're running tons of this awesome automation, think Netflix, right?
Yeah.
And then, optimize from there. Like many security kind of verticals at this point, I would argue are in the run phase, which is people have been doing access forever, and we keep making it better and better and better. For example, Kubernetes, in my opinion, is in the crawl stage. It's very early. Yeah, people are doing it, right? Many large organizations are doing it. If you go to our website, you'll see a number of very large logos, rather logos of large companies there. Maybe not large logos, but they're all sort of early. One team is doing it, or 2 teams are doing it, and now they're saying, "Wow, so many different teams are doing Kubernetes. Maybe I should have a corporate view of this." Right? I'm going to standardize. I'm going to pick the one set of tools. I'm going to think through who has access to what. Can I audit this stuff? Do my clusters all look the same? This is where the market is slowly going. So it's kind of going from crawl to walk. Okay, we should tune our product for that market then. And that to me was an important thing. Look, we're here to talk about startups per se, not about Rafae, the business. But I think that to me was really important to understand, and just kind of getting who is your customer really, right? As an example, many of our competitors talk about DevOps being the buyer. Maybe sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, right? More often than not, the buyer for us for our product is the operations team in a company, IT infrastructure, IT operations teams. And the reason why they are the buyer, or at least the team that benefits from it the most, is because they have the most pain. They're the ones who have to keep the lights on, right? So a cluster went down, what do I do now? Or that user at that team is trying to access that cluster and he says he can't get to it. Oh my God, what do I? This is what they do day-to-day basis. They're not the ones building the tools. They're the ones running the system. And if we can build tooling that DevOps can consume from us, but end of the day, DevOps' customer is ops. If you understand what their pain points are, you're going to build a better product. So that in the early days, just kind of digging, got us to that answer, which is, don't focus on, DevOps is the user, the consumer of the platform, but the internal ultimate customer is operations. That gave us a lot of clarity on where the market is. And we found that DevOps in every company was pretty mature. Ops was not when it comes to Kubernetes.
DevOps is a really interesting concept in itself, because like you just said there, DevOps is IT operations infrastructure, but a lot of the time DevOps can be really confused depending on how a business is trying to implement either a DevOps culture, DevOps principles, a DevOps engineer. It depends who you're talking to, because a DevOps could mean you build it, you run it. It could be IT operations. Yep. It could be software developers. So I guess at the start then, what I want to know is, would you target in the larger organizations, the larger corporations that had big established infrastructures, that had big IT ops teams? Was that your target customer from day one?
What we look for are companies that are, mid to large enterprises who have a handful of applications that are being modernized right now or have been modernized. And now what they're, trying to solve for is, well, I got a number of Kubernetes clusters on-prem, maybe in the cloud, some combination thereof. And this is hard to keep up and running. That's the customer. So these are relatively large organizations. These are not startups for the most part, who are engaging with us. Traditional enterprises, mid-size or large, or even small enterprise, right? They have to follow a certain level of rigor around they have processes. They have to have clarity on, okay, I'm going to build up this new infrastructure. Do I have the right auditing in place? Do I have the right alerting in place? Is it built on zero trust principles? Do I have a way to isolate who has access to what, et cetera? These are things that enterprises, they live and breathe this stuff. And the clarity we got was, hey, so Kubernetes, when it graduates to that kind of organization, companies that really care about these other requirements, all of us have to find a way to marry Kubernetes with these enterprise requirements: alerting, auditing, standardization, access control, easy click button, right? Repeatable processes, et cetera. And that's what we've ended up building, right? So what we built is interesting to large enterprises who want to standardize. They want to be able to have repeatable processes, get remote teams, have complete visibility control, et cetera. That's what we built, right? So, and you asked the question that is important, and I kind of took a long kind of path to answering that question because, look, we have to understand who has the pain, who can actually spend money for it, because not every team will have the budget for buying tools like this. And then you have to build the right product for that right organization. So we've kind of, luck has a lot to do with it, but you make luck by doing it again and again and again. You make 1,000 calls, you get lucky, which is what I do. So we got lucky. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I'm recruiting people onto our platform effectively. But look, we ended up building understanding, firstly, that this market is transitioning from this, people thinking of Kubernetes as a toy to now this is going to become an enterprise play. People are building their production applications here. What are they going to care about? Right? Now build for that. Table stakes, things like, oh, can you build a cluster? Yeah, who cares? That's table stakes. Anybody can do that. Nobody cares, right? There's open source tools for that. No. How do I now fit this into an enterprise system? Do you have APIs I can plug into ServiceNow? Oh, yeah, we do, right? These are the things that enterprises care about, right? And we built that, and now we have a formidable platform that is beating all of our competitors in the market. We understood what our customers really needed, who the ultimate buyer was, if you will, right? Or at least the group of people to make decisions around platforms. We built the right product for them.
So as a co-founder and CEO, just sticking with this point for a second, would your job almost, obviously, you wear many hats in a startup, but would your job as the CEO and co-founder be very much outbound kind of target client approach as well, like sales focused and bringing people interested in the platform? I
am the most prolific SDR in this company, and that's my job. That's every CEO's job. By hook or crook, right? You ask your investors, you hit up your ex-customers, whatever it takes, hit up in my case, a neighbor of mine works at a large bank. Hey, you make an intro, and then you pass it on to your reps. But if a CEO can sell, can anybody? That's my perspective. So yeah, I gotta be able to sell. The CEO's job is, you raise money, you hire people, and you sell. Everything else, you have smart people who take care of everything. Our head of products, it's brilliant, right? I don't need to think about it. I hear things in the market, I pass it on, and I say, hey man, I keep hearing the same thing again and again, and then it'll be taken care of. Our engineering and operations leaders, awesome. No need to worry about it. There, you hire, you bring on the right people. They will take care of everything, and you gotta obviously let them do what you need. I hope that they think of me as, here's a rep on the team who just brings feedback back to the company, and then they make decisions. So at that level, I'm not the CEO. I'm just bringing feedback back. My job is, again, making sure the company doesn't run out of money, hiring people, sales.
You make the job of a CEO sound very simple.
Selling is the hard part, particularly in a company. We've been selling for 4 quarters now. This is our 5th quarter selling. It's been great. This market's hot, but with the right product, we've been able to do a lot of work. But it only happened because Everybody in this company is very focused on customers. Every 2 weeks, we have a company-wide call. We do these weekly, some things we do every 2 weeks, but we sort of do like an open session across all of our colleagues across the country. I mean, across the world. We have people at this point now in 4 time zones. What's funny is, we ask them about, okay, what do you want to talk about? All they care about is sales. So the number one job is sales. All of them take sales seriously. All of them are supporting customers, and we joke about this. If you work at Rafae, you're in sales. Our QA engineers are jumping in on Slack channels, supporting customers with issues that they're bringing up. This is how we build a business. Everybody understands sales is the most important thing here. Nothing else matters. I mean, I'm not saying anything anybody would disagree with. What is more important than selling in a startup? You have to nail this. You have to get this right. You have to understand the unit economics of a rep. What can a sales representative produce for a company? You have to understand that. And without all of that information, you can't build a real business.
So you mentioned something a few seconds ago about the market's on fire. The market's hot right now. I read the recent press release on your website about you announcing 800% revenue growth from 2019 to 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself has got to be worth shouting about.
Crazy, yeah. You can crown yourself, king of Kubernetes with the right product at this time, because the market is starting. We lose the deals that we don't see. We don't seem to be losing the deals that we're in. That means we should do more marketing. But what that does tell us is the product's really good. I mean, my colleagues have made my job very easy. Once I can get this in front of the right people, and if they have a project, they're looking at us and maybe a couple of other vendors for us to explain, why a SaaS-based approach to Kubernetes management that is embedded with zero trust security and that is designed around kind of enterprise multi-tenancy principles, why this is the right platform for you versus any other thing in the market. That's an easy conversation to have. We just need to be in the conversations.
That was 2020. Obviously, that was the year where, you reported that huge growth. You had a really, really good year. How's Q1 this year been so far?
Yeah, we'll put a few logos, I guess, in May. Very good. Very, very good, actually. I have never, Joe, worked at a company, and since undergraduate school, I've only worked at startups other than whatever acquisitions one time. I've never worked at a company where we had such good product market fit and the market was this hot. I've never worked at a company like this. I'm 43 years old. I mean, I can feel like, I'm old now in this industry, but my God, I've never worked at a company like this. I've never worked in a market like this. This is crazy, right? I mean, just the clarity that customers come to the table with around what they're looking for, what their pain points are. Usually they've looked at a bunch of open source. So, what a great time to be working on a Kubernetes management platform.
So I read something really interesting today as well. I'll read it here. So in 2021, the use of Kubernetes is expanding into new areas. So 5G infrastructure is one I keep seeing, orchestrating VMs, serverless applications. So my question would be, where do you see the market this time next year?
I think Kubernetes is going to be in everything. It's going to be in your toaster. It's going to be in your car. It's going to be everywhere. It'll take time, but it'll get there. But some of the conversations we've been pulled into, some things that we've actually kind of walked away from because we don't have time. Some of these crazy things happening out there. Indeed, I say toaster tongue in cheek, but my friend, there are appliances that will have Kubernetes soon. It's coming. What a great invention, right? The team at Google who built this, I mean, what a great job they've done. And yeah, indeed, you talked about kind of Kubernetes orchestrating VMs. So that's something actually that we are launching imminently with one of our partners. Yeah, man. I mean, it's going to be the orchestration tool of choice. Look, an application is not just containers and application. It's containers, and it's services that are running in a public cloud, RDS. It's going to be VMs. It's going to be functions that you fire, right? It's going to be a whole lot of these different things. And it stands to reason that one single orchestration platform will help people drive all of this. So that's what's going to happen here. This is only going to expand. I keep as we're talking, I keep saying this is early. And fundamentally what I mean by that is, look, every customer starts with a handful of clusters, and in 6 months you go back and look at what they've done, and the number has just exploded, right? Yeah. At least double, right? And the funny thing is, every customer, and I guess my daughter says I have dad jokes, so I tell that same joke to every customer, which is, when we talk about how many clusters they need, they'll pick a number, right? X number, whatever, 5, 10. And I always tell them, I guarantee you're going to be wrong. It's going to be larger. And yeah, it will be larger, I guarantee it. And we're never wrong. They always have more. This thing grows like a weed because it solves a real problem. Once you have the right automation in place, when you can bring new clusters up with all the right enterprise tooling, with all the right enterprise controls in place, more and more application teams come, and you just keep adding more and more and more. The gap is automation. Kubernetes is awesome. The gap is automation and management. And, we solve it, other vendors solve it. So long as you find the right vendor to work with, you will see overnight your business, whatever your business happens to be, it will be moving faster. Your developers will be writing code faster. You'll be shipping capabilities to your customers faster. Your business will see immediate value with Kubernetes, with the assumption, again, that you have thought about the automation layer. Don't try to build yourself. It's not a good use of your time. You should have your developers work on the next big app for your, FinServe, whatever you do, right? Yeah. I mean, add new features to Robinhood. Don't invest in Kubernetes teams. That's my perspective. Obviously, I say that from a selfish and biased point of view. But yeah, man, I mean, once you make the right decision on Kubernetes management, it's incredible how fast some of our customers have been with us 6-9 months now, how fast they're moving. It's great. Great to see.
Yeah, the scalability and the automation side of things are out of control. Do you did Rafae build bespoke systems or products for clients? I mean, I know each client will come with a different challenge, but is your product and your services simply just, this is how we can solve your problem? Or is it like, okay, let's build you something that can solve your problem?
So we sell a product, so we don't do bespoke work per se, but here it's interesting you ask that question because indeed everybody's different. So here's a methodology that our head of products applied, which is working out really well. Every so often we hear about something new, right? Hey, can you help me with, I'll give you a real example because we've solved it now. I am using HashiCorp Vault for secrets management. It's the most used one out there. And there's a lot of pain around getting the cluster trust relationship, rather the trust relationship between the cluster and Vault established. And then, getting the secrets kind of properly used by developers so that they don't actually get the secrets in hand, they just get a reference to a secret in a cluster. So we heard about this, I don't know, a few quarters ago now, early days of selling. And we kept hearing it again and again. So initially what Mohan did was, he and the team, they sort of build recipes. So he calls them recipes and integrations. So he built a recipe. If you're a Vault user, this is what we can show you how to do. We kind of built it ourselves and we provided a recipe to our customers, and our support team can help you with it. But when we see the same thing happen again and again, we add it to our product. So now, and if you Google Vault and Rafae, you'll find a blog on Vault's side, you'll find documentation on our side. If you're a Vault customer from HashiCorp, you have to do nothing on the cluster to get the trust relationship set up. Just register the cluster with Rafae, and everything will be automatic. The admission controller setup, the muting thing, all the stuff you have to do on the cluster, completely automatic. You don't have to do nothing with the cluster. And then when your developers are writing code, we've built annotations. You say, hey, just add this to your YAML. Don't worry about it. And we take care of everything for you. Now, what we did, people used to do before, with people, right? And every time a new cluster would come up, you would take a while to right? I mean, that takes a while. Yeah. That's it. Now, just add a cluster. It just done. Right? So we solved that problem. We've done this with other things also, but this one is top of mind for me because right before this call, I was on another call where we talked about this with the customer. But this is what we've done. This market is so complicated. There's 50 different tools you have to solve for. And the vision of the team here is, man, look, we're going to solve every one of them. We've handled many of them. So we already solved the 90% problem, right? And then it's one by one, we're going to solve them all. We envision being able to deliver to a DevOps team a completely turnkey platform where they can just bring their application logic, plug in your CI system here, and then on the other side you have clusters that the Rafae will provision for you, and you're done. Right? Their job should be easier. Their job is too hard right now because they have to keep up with every little component in Kubernetes that may change every month, and they got to become experts on everything. That's not okay. That's my job. That's our job. Right? We are your partners. We work for you. Right? We're going to make your life easy. You go focus on your app. You deliver the best possible automation to your operations engineers. Remember, they're the customers and your developers, and everybody's happy. Everybody moves faster. By the way, that has to be the vision for the Kubernetes management industry. And if a vendor in the space is still focused on things like, oh, we have a better distribution than Amazon, dude, you're going to die. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your distribution. That market is finished now, right? Focus on the management layer. Because, hey, by the way, we have a distribution too. If you're running on premises, Rafae provides one. But if you are an Amazon customer and you want to use EKS-D, which is Amazon's Kubernetes distribution, it's a button on UI. You decide. We don't care. Pick upstream Kubernetes, pick Rafae Kubernetes, pick EKS-D. That's not where the money is. We don't even charge for it. The value is in automation. The value is in orchestration. The value is in multi-cluster management.
So you mentioned something a moment ago, which I wanted to ask you about as well, and this is moving away from tech and away from Kubernetes for a second. You mentioned having a distributed engineering team, and you're the guy in charge of hiring and things like that. So how was 2020 for you managing a completely remote team?
So we have a team in India who, of course, has been working remotely, and we've actually hired a lot of people into the team over the last 3-4 quarters. So when COVID happened, right? I mean, nobody knew what was going to happen, so you sort of kind of like, okay, well, hunker down for a minute, and then 2 months into it, it was clear that, man, it's all good, right? I mean, people want to buy automation. So we have three as an example, we have 3 sales reps on the team, okay, that I've never met. I mean, I see them on Slack or not on Zoom every day, but I've never met them in person. It's okay. So that would not have been a thing prior to COVID, right? We would expect them to fly in, and I'd expect to go into their territory at least every couple of months and meet their customers with them. None of that is happening right now. Now, it's not impacting business in any way. In my opinion, now we are able to fit more meetings in a day than we used to before. Like before, I'd go to New York and we'd go meet like 2 customers or 3 customers, and that's our day. Or you could taxi from here to there. It takes time, right? Now, zoom, right? Just keep jumping from meeting to meeting. It's all there. I don't even have to shave anymore. So no, I mean, I think a lot of things have actually simplified for kind of the kinds of workforces we are, which is we're digital workforces, knowledge workers, whatever you want to call them. But for us, it's been very good. Obviously, COVID has been tough on a lot of different categories of individuals. But in the tech industry, given what we do, we all kind of use our computers, work from anywhere. It's been good. But the challenge then becomes, how do you build a team? Right? How do you build a culture? Right? Culture is important. It's a small company like this. We can't afford to have divergent opinions on things, etc. Right? In terms of how we do things. So we talk a lot. We have lots and lots of open sessions, lots and lots of, hey, order DoorDash, and then just get on a Zoom and eat your food, but just eat your food on this Zoom call. And many engineers do a lot of things that actually, frankly, they don't invite me to, which I get, all right, that they don't want to see on these calls. So, but over communication is really, really important. And just kind of reminding people at least every couple of weeks, what do we believe in is really, really important. Right? I mean, what does customer first mean, right? And how do you show that by example? Customers ask a question on Slack. If I don't see an answer 15, 20 minutes later, I'll just jump in. It's okay. Hey, let me get you an answer, right? And the point is not I'm trying to ding somebody or trying to one-up somebody. It's about setting a pace for the team and a culture for the team. Showing, teach by doing, right? Don't tell, don't preach. I don't know if any other way to do this. Over communicate and just do it. It's with the reps, right? Yeah, I'm closing deals also. Of course, why not? I should, right? If I'm telling them to work hard, I should be able to do this, right? Yeah, I do. Of course I do. Why would I not? Right? This is how I think we can build a great culture over time. COVID or not, frankly, this applies at all times.
So I'm assuming the plan for the business and for Rafae is to grow. So is culture something that's you're quite conscious of, maintaining that culture even as the business expands and grows remotely, and you might not ever meet 50% of the people you employ. So is that something that's at the forefront of your mind?
Absolutely. Look, there's a kind of personality that fits in this company and some will not. That's okay, right? I mean, there's enough options out there for all of us, right? There's enough job. I mean, with jobs for anybody, right? Particularly engineers in this market who understand, Kubernetes or such things. There's 50,000 options. But any individual looking at a new job, right? I think the one thing that you should really think about is, what do they care about, right? I mean, I spend more time with my colleagues than I spend with my kids, right? I mean, it is what it is, right? We work all day long, right? And, 14-hour days. Zoom has made it worse. It used to be 8, 10. Now it's longer. Yeah, we better get along, right? Otherwise, it's gonna really suck, right? I mean, just be sure that you're going into a company that aligns. I mean, their thinking, their methodology aligns with yours. And for me, I repeat this to the team a lot. When a customer asks a question, we're not going to go to bed without answering it tonight. I don't want anybody to say, "Oh yeah, okay, all right, I saw that question, but I'm busy right now. I'm going to get to it tomorrow." No, do it today. Do it today. If I don't see it, I'm gonna jump in. 24/7 on my phone. If my computer's not on, I get Slack messages from every channel from every customer. 24/7. And if for certain channels, I have alerts set up on my phone. 2 in the morning, it's gonna wake me up. I want to see what's happening. And the point is not that I'm trying to be. This is not about micromanagement. This is about, we take it this seriously.
How's the work-life balance though, if you're doing these sorts of things at 2 or 3 in the morning?
Well, look, I mean, there's only so many things you can do in life, right? So you have to choose. You can choose health, you can choose family, you can choose work. This three of them, for the most part, most of us have 3 of these things, right? I'm not sure you can get, and there's also sleep, I guess, which is health. I'm not sure you can get all of them. So you have to pick 2, right? In my opinion, right? So pick 2. I don't get much sleep, but I catch up every now and then. But look, I mean, family is important. Work is important. That impacts sleep. That impacts health. Look, I mean, look at the white hair I got, man. I shouldn't have this much white hair, but it's okay, right? We're on. I wasn't going to say anything. Yeah. You should see my kids making fun of my white hair. My son says to me all the time, "Wow, you're old." Wow, he's 8. So no, I mean, you have to pick something, right? I mean, we all have to prioritize, right? I mean, it's okay. I prioritize not having 10 hours of sleep right now. It's okay. It is what it is. But we're doing it for all the right reasons. We've stumbled into, or gotten lucky, or call it what you want, or worked hard to get to a point where we have an opportunity to build something really, really amazing, right? And it's not just for myself. It's for my family. Then it's also for every individual in this company. All of their families will benefit if this company is successful. It's a really important thing to keep in mind, right? You're not just doing this for yourself, particularly as a manager, as a leader. Everybody else around you, they're your responsibility. Their families are your responsibility. Wow, right? That's a burden, right? Gotta take it seriously.
It's a really good insight to anybody looking at your business and looking at jobs at the business, looking at the way that you operate. It's really, really good. So I want to ask you about KubeCon. Are you attending this year?
Yep. Yeah, some of my colleagues are. In fact, I believe with one of our larger partners, we're doing some session there also. Yeah, but yes, absolutely we are.
Good. Yeah, it's really, really interesting. So I did a recap, obviously, at the end of last year with Sean about KubeCon recap and the takeaways from it. Really interesting to actually hear how sort of different people's perspectives. So Sean came on, a couple of other people from different businesses came on and talked about how their experience was of virtual KubeCon, because doing something like this or doing the meetups that I do with like 40, 50, 60 people on is okay. But when you've got something like a monster like KubeCon and you've got like a virtual booth to pop in and out, it's I can imagine it's a nightmare to try and manage.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I mean, I've attended a bunch of these virtual events with other companies over the last 6-9 months, and I'm a little confused every time, right? I don't know. It's not the same, but it's okay, right? I mean, for the most part, if they are open, like Amazon did this with reInvent, right? So they had these recordings. I went and watched them later. Okay, all right. I think there's learning that happens in these events, and then there's a lot of catching up with old the network, right? So that part seems to be clearly missing. It's unfortunate, right? Startups certainly do rely on these shows as for lead generation. That's kind of tough to do. That's okay, right? At the end of the day, we're still learning as an industry. So we will attend, right? We are a player in the Kubernetes market, so we want to make sure the market knows who we are and why this is the right platform for them. So absolutely, we'll be attending. And hopefully we can do this in person soon. We were, before this recording started, we were talking about our shots, right? So yeah, hopefully everybody will have them, and then we can all go in person.
Final question from me then, Haseeb. How would you like Rafae to be known in the marketplace?
At this point, as I see it, Rafae is the most enterprise friendly and the only really enterprise grade platform out there for Kubernetes management. The others didn't start that way. The others, the generation 1 platforms that exist that we all know of, they started at a time when Kubernetes was so early that it was sort of like a toy at that point, right? We were just kind of doing things in a corner, people trying things out. And now that it's becoming kind of an enterprise tool set, the rigor's missing. They're not enterprise grade. They haven't really needed to solve the problems that now need to be solved. And to be fair, the information wasn't there. How could they know? Now they're trying to retrofit, and retrofitting doesn't work. Like as an example, many of our competitors, they say, well, yeah, we don't have SaaS, but we can host the solution for you. Yeah, hosted is not SaaS. Man, as an enterprise, I'm giving up my data center and going to Amazon, which is sort of like a SaaS data center. My entire data center is SaaS. You want me to buy software for Kubernetes? No, I want SaaS. So generation 2 companies sometimes sort of win, right? Because that's how markets end up. Generation 1 companies kind of create markets, and then generation 2 companies make markets, right? They make them bigger. So Rafae is a Gen 2 company in the Kubernetes management space, and definitely presently this is the most enterprise friendly, the only enterprise grade platform in the market. Our doc sites are open. Our GitHub site with all of the example documentation and content and code is open. It's a very easy platform to play with. Feel free to set up an account. It's a fast product. Set up an account, go take it for a spin. And if you have any questions, find us on our community Slack, which is rafecommunity.slack.com.